So I'm gonna straight up unfold the story. So I've had a third-person party communication with some people in the music industry, and they've done pretty much everything they possibly can to poke at me, prod at me, covert narcissist style. And so when I first got here, one of the things that they had done is they had put out Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer. This is a giant witch's coven. And I'm gonna lay out pretty much every fucking witch in it right now. So we're gonna say Beyonce, Ariana Grande, Sabrina Carpenter, J-Lo, who else? Pretty much every idol in K-pop. I mean, that much is obvious because, you know, Idol's on a satanic stage with giant computer screen on the background that's throwing out the evil eye, the heart with daggers on it, you know, tarot stuff. So, and they're doing hand signals and they're putting code in their putting code in their songs, right? And so it's pretty obvious. I mean, it's I would say it's pretty primitive witchcraft. I would say it's something between beginner to intermediate. But after here, I'll stop for a second. Okay, so back to that. The thing about witches, right, is that witches, they're like basically a dime a dozen. They're very common. But when you have a male witch that shows up, it pisses off the covens of female witches because every single time one of those males shows up, they're very rare and they're overpowered, basically. But they can't control their powers like a regular witch. And that's one of the things that really drives the covens up the wall, because you've got this guy that can't control an overpowered amount of energy, and it's like an insult because they have to work hard to be able to harness and control the power that they have, and they have this guy with natural abilities that's an idiot that can't really control it, and it's painful to them as well as, because I mean the amount of effort they have to work for it, and then this idiot comes along that just has a natural talent. And so a lot of times witches covens will go after a warlock because of the whole fact that he not only can he not control his power, but he's more powerful than basically the whole entire coven. And you'll find this on occasion. You'll actually be able to see it. It usually shows up in like Hollywood and things like that. You can see what happens. The guy will end up being hassled and harassed to a large extent. And well, I mean, I can name a few people right now, but I don't necessarily want to put it out there. I'm kind of just going for the witches who have been harassing me. Like Beyonce, she put out that song, God, what was it? That Blackjack song is a country Texas Hold'em song. It said, "Don't be a bitch." So that's an old target from me when I was in jail, right? Because when you're called a bitch and you go to jail, it's basically like being told that you're going to be subjugated. And so one of the things about that is that, you know, it's a narcissist cult. What they try to do is dig into every little thing that you find irritating. And the best thing to do about that is to laugh at them, because they can't do shit to you. Especially if you have a high amount of power, you have a high amount of energy. Like me, you know. See, the thing is, after a while, people don't realize everything I've been through. I've had half my body broken. I've had both my parents try to kill me. I've had all kinds of crazy shit happen to me. So really, them just trying to poke at me and prod at me, it doesn't do anything. And so you know, I was basically built for this sort of situation, because who else could have survived such a thing as everywhere you go, you're getting poked and prodded and called names and messed with. So doesn't affect me though. It's really just laughable when it comes down to it, because like I said, it's all parlor tricks. After a while, word curses don't work on you. After a while, things that are said don't work on you. And you know, the thing about most witches is that they have to do hand signals. They have to do invocations by voice. They have all this crazy shit they have to do just to put out a intermediate spell with intermediate power. And you'll have a warlock who doesn't even need to use hand signals or a verbalized invocation to acquire intermediate to a high level spell by himself instead of using an entire coven. And so that's one of the things, man. That's one of the things, is that an entire coven can't even keep up with one warlock, and that pisses them off because they have to work hard just to get the little amount of power that they have versus the one basically the village idiot, right? The village idiot that's got the capabilities of doing some higher level things. Another thing is that they might just move their hand without words, and they'll end up with a higher level spell, higher level power invocation. And that's one of the things, you just not care. But yeah, this is gonna get ugly, man. I'm telling you, this is gonna get ugly. No debt in the universe goes unpaid. You can't sit there and get poked at for months on end like this. And this is what's funny. So one of the girls, because she knew what I was gonna go through when this whole endeavor started, right? And so the first week that I got here, they tossed out Cruel Summer, okay? So Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift, I looked at that, I'm like, yeah, like I want to listen to that song, right? And so I'm kind of laughing about that because it's like, sure, listen to a song called Cruel Summer. And so this is summer right now. And that's what they were trying to do. They were either trying to tell me or warn me that they were going to torture me. And so, another one of them put out a song called Lemon, which is, a nice way of saying, a lemon on a car is like one that you don't get that didn't work right or whatever. But when you're a narcissist, right? When you're a narcissist, you're looking at someone like an object that didn't function according to your expectations, which in reality, you're not supposed to look at a person like an object that's supposed to function in that way. You're supposed to look at a person like a person, and not a tool to be used. So, this is the thing. I've come to the conclusion of what's going on here, and I'm going to just lay it out because I'm tired of the shit, and I'm going to be gone in a few days anyways, so I got nothing to lose and don't give a shit whether I leave here or not in one piece, but I want to get the information out. The K-pop industry has been trying to invoke Lucifer into a body, and that body is Felix of Stray Kids. I'm certain of that. They're trying to make him pretty, look like an angel of light. He has more control over a lot of things than you would expect. He has more control over than just his group as an individual. I know that for a fact. It doesn't bother me to say this shit out loud now that I've done enough research, enough information to know that I'm saying this without having to worry about being wrong. So the K-pop industry is definitely trying to, they've been hammering me really hard psychologically with a lot of witchcraft, but they understand that I'm untouchable, which was another song that they put out. They put out a song called Untouchable because they recognize and know that as witches and warlocks, touching a child of light basically brings fire and brimstone down on them. So they can't touch me. They're not supposed to put stuff in my food. They're not supposed to grab my hair and make voodoo dolls. So the only thing they could really do was like word curses and throw spells at me. And so, they hacked my phone. One of the things they did is they hacked my phone. That's why I came here, because I wanted to see what the hell they had to say. The first day that I showed up, half of the K-pop industry ran out of town. They all jumped on airplanes and ran off. And then I got a triangulation message on my phone saying, "Oh, well, we didn't mean to abandon you," right? So they're trying to say all kinds of shit. They're trying to say abandonment issues and all kinds of crap. Anything that's trying to make it sound like I'm the narcissist, which is, when it comes to projection, it's pretty interesting, right? Another thing is that I do have INFJ qualities, but I look at the Myers-Briggs personality type. Yeah, bro. The INFJ is basically a covert narcissist. That's something you should take in consideration. You need to know that, because a lot of people say they're an INFJ. What you're dealing with most likely is a covert narcissist. But yeah, all the research that I've done over the course of the last year and a half, because I thought K-pop was really interesting, and then I started realizing that they were hiding code in their performances, and a lot of it had to do with word curses and basically insults, right? Word curses, insults, stuff like that, ways to drain the energy out of people. And that's one of the things, is that they talk about good energy, right? But they'll definitely take bad energy, because they have when I went to their Seattle performance, you can watch that online. There's some nasty shit that was said in their songs, okay? So you can go watch the Itzy Seattle performance online, find it, whoever recorded it, put it on YouTube. You go find that, and you can see in their songs, you can listen to it. They don't match what the lyrics of the song originally were supposed to say. So they sneak shit in, and they know if you're watching, they'll abuse you. And so there's a couple songs like Boys Like You and Swipe. Well, Boys Like You was a song that was made before I ever even found the K-pop industry, before I even really knew it existed, and started looking at it. And the reason that they popped up is because so the first group that popped up was NCT Dream, and was it INFJ, I think was the song. And those guys are cool. Those guys are pretty cool. I like their song. But it was like a clown mouth and an ambulance and stuff like that on fire. And the song, it was interesting. It was an interesting song. And one of the things that was crazy is that they were out riding motorcycles, and I warned them. I said, don't be careful when you go ride motorcycles, because you could get in an accident. It's really easy to get in an accident and hurt yourself. And then like a couple days later, one of them got in an accident and busted his knee up where he couldn't perform. So that was weird. I called that in advance. And that's the kind of weird stuff that happens with me, is that people will be like, false prophet, false. It's like you should everything that I've come. My mom even said it because she's talked to me for a long period of time, and she said, everything that you've said has come to pass. And it's like every major incident that I've talked about has come to pass. And because of all the witchcraft that goes on here, and it's not like they're trying to do white witch stuff, right? This is dark stuff. They've got cats everywhere. There's brooms everywhere. They're walking backwards, which is like Satanism 101, right? They're walking backwards. They've got idols that they worship. So the way that they've got like a narcissistic cult, because each idol really has a narcissistic group. Each idol is a narcissist, or at least most of them are. I'm sure that there are some that probably aren't, but the vast majority, from what I've seen from experience, are. And so that's one of the things. I've pissed off a couple of them, and they've been fucking harassing me, I'll tell you what. And I could say which ones. A couple of them are in Itzy, and one of them's mad because I didn't give her the time of day, and I probably hurt her ego. And it sounds egotistical, but it's the truth. Okay, that's just kind of how it is. And so when you take somebody that's famous and you don't give them the time of day, really, because you kind of see what's going on, and you're kind of going, you look like a previous girlfriend of mine. They made you look like a previous girlfriend of mine. I'm going, what in the fuck's going on here? And then I look back again at another group who was basically sending signals, right? You can see that they're sending signals. They're using a color scheme of mine that I've been using for like a decade, that I'm known for. It's the chartreuse green and the royal blue, right? So they're sending me signals out like 7 or 8 years ago. I didn't even fucking know it. It'd been like 5 or 6 years. They'd been putting that song on the radio waves. I didn't even know it existed, and I saw it and I went, holy shit, that's been around for 7 fucking years. And I look at that, I'm like going, shit. I also was the person that put K-pop on Spotify. I've already said that on my channel, but I was the one that came up with the idea to do that. I was the one that did the research and found out that it was like 18% of the total income value for streaming, and so I helped them make a bunch of money, obviously, and I didn't get shit in return besides narcissistic abuse. They promised me all kinds of shit. They promised me they're gonna make me an idol. They're gonna fucking put me into a position of a CEO of a large corporation. They said that I was gonna do all this crap, and it's like, they wouldn't even talk to me directly in person. They always wanted to triangulate, and they never wanted to like meet up for like figuring out how to get me into a contract of some sort, And the thing is that even if it's a contract, you could also put in clauses that you null and void the contract. Like say say I don't do my fucking job after a couple of weeks or whatever, I'm doing a bad job, then they can nullify the contract. It's not like they'd be locking themselves into a contract with the person that doesn't do their fucking job. And so that's something that makes me mad too, is that they never had the intention of doing this to begin with. They're future faking the whole fucking time. So the CEOs of the big four, yeah, they're narcissists, 100%. I know that 2 of them for certain are narcissists, and they're pissed off right now because they're getting burned. They're burned. They burned their own fucking feet. So they messed with the wrong dude. But I'm not going to be the one that's going to take the brunt and take the shit for it, right? So these girls trying to drag me over here, we're looking for a scapegoat because they're narcissists, right? So they're looking for a scapegoat. They're not going to be able to get away with it. They've already done too much dumb shit, and it's out in the public. It's on YouTube, and they're during their concerts and crap like that, to where they're not going to be able to get away with it. They're going to look. There's obvious evidence of shenanigans and wrongdoing. Okay, so when you look at this crap, and you look at where they're kind of leaving me and poking me and prodding me, it's not cool. It's very, very, very not cool. So, there's Cruel Summer that popped up, and I went, okay, so this is the beginning of an abusive summer, right? That's the warning. And then all of a sudden, one of the girls that I particularly like, she has a particular song that's got fireworks in the background and stuff like that, and she just sounds awesome, right? And tonight there was fireworks, and I got a message saying that someone's making a life-changing decision, and I don't think it's her, but I also think that it's meant to make me think that, right? It's meant to torment me, and that's what I think. And these are called angel channels. Like, oh, your angels are fucking tormenting you, is what they're doing. So if you get these channels that are saying the angels are this, the angels are that, block the fucking channel, get rid of it. All they're gonna do is try and harm you. They're gonna just poke at you and see what you do. They're narcissist channels, probably the Hell's Angels or something like that, or another gang by the angels, because all that they've done for me is bother the fuck out of me. And so they say that this gone wrong, that's gone wrong, and everything's going wrong. And it's like, okay, so if you're supposed to be protecting me, if you're a guardian angels, right, and you're supposed to be protecting me from harm, why in the fuck aren't you preventing these things from happening in the first place and helping me acquire my happiness that I'm supposed to get? Because in reality, I haven't received any of the blessings that they said that they're going to receive me. The things that they said they're going to give me, like whether it be a happy life with the woman of my dreams or anything like that, it's all been a fucking lie, right? Up to this point, it's been a lie. I haven't seen any of it really come to fruition. So I'm not being negative or pessimistic. I'm being real, right? Like this is kind of how things are. And so we'll see if things come to fruition or not. But I ain't sticking around. Not when I have a bunch of little munchkins running around, a bunch of, well, not munchkins, but people on the ground that think they can run around and pester me. And I got assholes that show up on my YouTube channel that want to scare the fuck out of me. They made it sound like a bunch of people got stabbed this morning. One of them is a psycho bitch. She's talking about how a bunch of people got stabbed this morning. You're hanging out with the wrong crew. A bunch of people got stabbed here. I'm like, yeah, right, because the police, the fucking police would be notified. They would know about it. They'd say, what the fuck's going on? So it's a big lie. It's just a mind fuck. Anyways, I have a narcissistic group. I have a narcissistic group of black people and a narcissistic group of Korean people that they work together. It's obvious that they work together. And that makes sense because you go look at one of the leaders was from New York, and New York's got a rap scene, but you look at the pop scene in the USA, and then you look at the K-pop scene in Korea, and K-pop's eerily similar. It's got a bunch of concepts similar to rap in there, so there's definitely a black influence. So there's a lot of black people that have helped influence the K-pop industry, and so, like I said, it's a witchcraft epidemic of black people and Korean people. And so I can tell you right now that South Korea, the reason that North Korea exists is to keep the South Koreans locked into a peninsula without an exit. And that is what the Illuminati do. They take the cursed family lineages of the 13 families and they put them on an island or a peninsula. Like, here's an example: Florida man, right? Florida man is fucking nuts on a peninsula. Do the math, right? So that's one of the things the United States do. They put people that are fucking crazy in Florida. It's Florida man. Put people on islands too, right? Like I know that Jamaica is full of voodoo and witchcraft, right? So there's a cursed family of African people on Jamaica. Same thing with Ireland. There's a cursed family lineage on the island of Ireland. And then you go look at Korea, and I'm not saying that North Korea was created to keep South Korea in line, but that's how it worked out. And I suspect that the Illuminati, when they created the war to begin with, had the intention of creating the North and the South to isolate the people in the South because of the overwhelmingly overpowering, what you would call a generational curse of witchcraft, aka narcissism. And it's the same reason why narcissism takes like 2 to 3 generations to get rid of, typically, unless you break the curse yourself. And that's what it is. It's a demonic curse. You are possessed if you have that fucking thing in you. You look at the people who are thrown into prison camps in North Korea. They're thrown in there for like 2 or 3 generations. It's the same principle, same effect. They want the narcissist thrown into prison for a long enough period of time to where the family lineage gets cleaned out. And it's the same principle, same idea. So you look at